Stade Toulousain, also referred to as Toulouse, is a French rugby union club from Toulouse in Midi-Pyrénées. Copyright now. Copyright is. Toulouse is arguably one of the finest rugby clubs in Europe, having won the Heineken Cup a record 4 times a Euro in 1996, 2003, 2005 and 2010. They were also runners-up in 2004 and 2008 against London Wasps and Munster, respectively. Stade Toulousain have also won a record 19 French championship titles. It is traditionally one of the main providers for the French national team. Their home ground is the Stade Ernest-Wallon. However, Big Top 14 matches along with Heineken Cup games are often played at the Stadium Municipal de Toulouse. The club colours are red, black and white. History. The birth. Before 1907 rugby in Toulouse was only played in schools or universities. In 1893, students of secondary school L'École Copyright de Toulouse got together in Les Sanssoucis. Once attending university, the same students founded l'Olympique Toulousain, which became Stade Olympien des Étudiants de Toulouse a few years later in 1896. In the same period, non-students grouped in Le Sport at Le Copyright Toulousain, while students of the veterinary school created l'Union Sportive de l'École var Copyright tar Copyright Renair. Both entities merged in 1905 and called themselves var Copyright Sport. Finally in 1907, Stade Toulousain was founded, resulting from a union between the SOET and var Copyright Sport. Early years. Stade Toulousain played its first final of the national title French Championship in 1909 and lost it to Stade Bordelais Université Copyright Club in Toulouse. In 1912 Stade Toulousain won its first national title. It had to wait until 1922 before it won its second. However, the 1920s were a golden era for the club. Their first final action in the 1920s was in 1921, when they were defeated by USA Perpignan. Despite losing in 1921, the side went on to win the 1922, 1923, 1924, 1926 and 1927 championships. 1930s to 1950s. The following decades were relatively quiet after such a dominant era during the 1920s. Stade Toulousain would not make it to any grand finals during the 1930s, and it would not be until the late 1940s when they would return. However, they did contest the Challenge Yves du Manoir with RC Toulon in 1934, though it ended in a 0-0 tie and both teams were winners. The club made it to the final of the 1947 championship, and claimed the premiership, beating SU Agen, 10-3. However, no such championships followed. The club was again relatively quiet on the championship. It was 22 years in the waiting. Toulouse made it to the final, but were defeated by the CA Bargles club. 1970s to 1980s. In 1971 Toulouse contested the Challenge Yves du Manoir against US Dax, losing 18-8. 11 years after the CA Bargles defeat, the club was again disappointed in the final, being defeated by AS Bar Copyright Zires in the championship game of 1980. The latter end of the decade was, however, reminiscent of the 1920s sides. Toulouse were again contesting the Challenge Yves du Manoir for the 1984 season, though they lost to RC Narbonne 17-3. They did however claim their first championship since 1947, defeating RC Toulon in the 1985 final. The following season saw them successfully defend their championship, defeating SU Agen in the final. After a number of defeats in the Challenge Yves du Manoir finals, Toulouse defeated US Dax to win the 1988 competition. Both Toulon and Agen won the following premierships, but Toulouse won another championship in 1989. 1990s to present. The dominance continued in the 1990s, starting with a grand final loss in 1991, and a Challenge Yves du Manoir championship in 1993, defeating Castors 13-8 in the final. The mid-1990s saw Stade Toulousain become a major force yet again, as the club claimed 4 premierships in a row, winning the championship in 1994, 1995, 1996 and 1997, as well as the Challenge Yves du Manoir in 1995. The club emulated its success in the European Rugby Cup, becoming the first ever champions in the 1995 Euro 96 season. The late 1990s and the 2000s saw the club again reach great heights. The club won the Challenge Yves du Manoir in 1998, defeating Stade Ernest-Wallon Paris, and the 1999 championship as well as the 2001 championship, and were runners-up in the 2003 season, losing to Stade Ernest-Wallon in the final. As the club had done in the mid-1990s, Stade Toulousain replicated this success in the European Rugby Cup, winning the 2002 Euro 03 championship and the 2004 Euro 05 championship. The club made it to the final of the 2005 Euro 06 top 14, and despite only trailing Biarritz 9 Euro 6 at half-time, Toulouse could not prevent a second-half whitewash, eventually going down 40 Euro 13. They ended their 7-year title drought with a 26 Euro 20 win over ASM Clermont-Auvergne on June 28, 2008. In 2008 they narrowly lost a Heineken Cup final to Munster by 3 points. In 2010 Toulouse defeated Leinster to reach the final, where they faced Biarritz Olympique at Stade de France in Paris on Saturday 22 May 2010. Toulouse won the game by 21 Euro 19 to claim their 4th Heineken Cup title, making them the only club to ever win the title 4 times. Stade Toulousain is also the only French club to have taken part in all the editions of Heineken Cup since its creation. They won the French Championship in 2011 against Montpellier and 2012 against Toulon. Stade Toulousain reached the semi-finals of the French Championship 20 consecutive years. Stadium. Toulouse play their home games at the Stade Ernest-Wallon, which was built in the late 1980s and was recently renovated. Stade Toulousain is one of the 3 teams that own its stadium. It has a capacity of 19,500. The stadium, however, cannot always accommodate all the fans of the Toulouse club. For the larger fixtures, such as Championship or Heineken Cup games or playoffs, the fixture may be moved to Stadium Municipal, which has double capacity, 38,000. The stadium has been used for numerous matches at the 2007 Rugby World Cup. Honours: Rugby Union Heineken Cup, Champions 1996. 2003, 2005, 2010, runners-up, 2004, 2008. French champions, champions 1912, 1922, 1923, 1924, 1926, 1927, 1947, 1985, 1986, 1989, 1994, 1995, 1996, 1997, 1999, 2001, 2008, 2011, 2012, runners-up, 1903, 1909, 1921, 1969, 1980, 1991, 2003, 2006. Coupe de l'Espoir Copyright France, Champions 1916, runners-up, 1917. Challenge Yves du Manoir, Champions 1934, 1988, 1993, 1995, 1998, runners-up, 1971-1984. French Cup, Champions 1946, 1947, 1984, runners-up, 1949, 1985. World Club Championship, Champions 1986. Football Champions of Midi, Champions 1905, 1906, 1907, 1908, 1909, 1910, 1911, 1912, 1913, 1914. European record, Toulouse qualified for the Heineken Cup in every season of that competition's existence, and played in the inaugural season of the replacement competition, the European Rugby Champions Cup. The club had the best competition record in the Heineken Cup, having won the competition 4 times. Current standings. Current squad. 2015 Euro 16 note, flags indicate national union as has been defined under WR eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-WR nationality. Notable former players, see also category, Stade Toulousain Rugby Union players. Selected former coaches, Tom Richards, Frena Section War Board, Robert Barron, Paul Blanc, Claude Labertat, Robert Brou, Pierre Villepré and Jean-Claude Scalat. Guy Novies, see also category, Stade Toulousain Rugby Union coaches. Presidents, Henri Cozzel, 1954 €57, Andrew Copyright Brouat, 1964 €66, Henri Fura S., 1966 €73, Henri Cozzel, 1974 €80, Jean Faber, 1980 €89, Jean Rena Copyright Bousquetel, 1992 €. Fans, La Hutte section of Iran, Le Rouge et Le Noir, the oldest fan club. Le 16e Toulousains 2 Paris, Les Micales des supporters, Le Virage Toulousain Toulouse 15, Les Rouges et Noirs de Picardie. See also, List of rugby union clubs in France, Rugby Union in France. References. External links, French, Stade Toulousain official website, data, results etc. on ITS Rugby.